Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Mila. I'm a psychoanalytic psychotherapist and I want to talk about subject of love. Do you need love or do you want love? There's a huge difference between needing and wanting. In love, if you feel like you experience need, so you approach love from a sense of needing. So you need that person to give you attention, to give you safety, to give you, I don't know, money, to give you love, right? Like you need love. So like if you approach your relationship from a point of view like that you need something, right? Usually that comes from victim mentality, right? That comes from, what I mean by that, it comes from trauma, right? You think about it like this, right? We need air to breathe, right? We need air to breathe. This is our like survival, right? It's survival. If we don't have air, we will not survive. We are going to die. So you can practically approach your relationship the same exact way. You can approach it like as if I really, really need it, but if I don't have it, I'm going to die, right? And therefore, what happens? You start blaming, you cannot express yourself properly, you have these emotional outbursts, you cannot sit down and communicate, you fall into the child's role, and you fall out of the adult because you fall into your trauma, because you fall back into the time where you needed something so much. Because when we enter relationships, we tend to project. Take any relationship, right? Any relationship you've ever been in, you're projecting your mother or father figure onto it, one way or another, and without a doubt. I'm saying this without a doubt. So what happens when you need a relationship, right? How do you know? How do you know if you need a relationship? Easy. Like I said, cannot communicate. You have arguments on and on and on and on. You feel hurt, you feel betrayed, you feel very strong emotions, you feel loneliness, you feel abandonment, imagine all anger, jealousy, all these other things. Take all the negative emotions, put it in one box, equals needing in a relationship, equals, victim mentality, equals trauma, unresolved trauma, right? So that's one way to approach a relationship, right? It's to need someone. It's to need someone like you need water, because you can't survive without that person. That's where dependency kicks in, codependency. But guess what? Codependency doesn't just kick in. Dependency, it comes from all the way back from childhood, and that's the way how you were raised. I'm going to record a separate video on codependency because I understand it's a complex topic and not many might understand what I'm talking about. But in simple words, to describe simple words, codependency is when you practically cannot live without another person. You are just like this, and there's no other way than living a life like this, right? So I always give this example. I was trying to explain this whole concept of needing and wanting to a friend of mine. And what I did is like, okay, this is codependency, right? This is needing, because if you're like this, then that means you cannot exist because you are broken, right? And so you always need to be like this. This is wanting, okay? And this is being in a healthy relationship. You have space, you have boundaries, you have space between, yet you're still together, right? So you're not like intertwined like this, right? You almost can't even breathe. But here you are. You're close. You choose to be close with one another. You don't need to be with one another. You're choosing to be with one another. You know that you want another person, not need another person, okay? Anyway, I'm just trying to use whatever I can, right, to explain a concept. And see, wanting is actually a beautiful thing. Wanting is knowing what you want, funny enough, knowing your values, right? Having your beliefs aligned with another person. It's respecting another person, needs and desires, and just in general, right? It's also loving yourself, and it's you know, wanting is not, it's out of it's not out of need. Wanting is out of, you're almost like creating your own reality. You're coming out of that victim mentality, and what I call it is like creator's mindset, right? You create what you want for your life. You don't need to blame, and you know, you just communicate. If any issue arises, you know, you communicate. And when you just want someone, and when there's no needing, then it doesn't become like this, right? It's just very calm. It's beautiful. It's peaceful. It's honest. It's loyal. It's all these things. And usually the people who choose wanting in a relationship, who approach relationship from sort of like wanting point of view, who want a relationship. I understand that the whole thing about needing and wanting is kind of like a similar thing, but just think about like air, right? Like, you don't really want to breathe air. You need to breathe air. But you would want something that you might already have, or you can give yourself. But it would be nice if someone else would have given it to you, right? It would be lovely. So anyway, when there is need, there is fear. Because imagine if we all of a sudden lost air or water, we're going to die. But when there's wanting, it's hard for me to describe it. It's hard to find an analogy right now. But when it's wanting, but when you want, it's so different. It just comes with peace. There's no attachment to it. There's nothing attached, right? And I'm not talking about, okay, right now you would think, oh, well, you know, there's these dismissive, avoidant people, right? Men and women who just not attached at all. You're wrong. You're wrong here, because if you think so, because actually dismissive avoidant people, they have dependency, but they're so scared of being dependent that they run away from it. So it's not the same thing. Anxious attachment is needing, right? Maybe in other words, the way you would understand is you know, like secure attachment style is when you don't need, when you just want that person, you want that person for who that person is. And see, another amazing thing that happens when you start needing someone, you almost objectify them. You almost put them into, you give them too much responsibility for your life. You give responsibility for your life into other person's hands. And that is dangerous. That is one of the most dangerous things you can do. And wanting is secure. There's no insecurity about wanting someone, or, you know. But when you need, you almost objectify that, because I need that. Let's say, when you need something, it usually becomes almost like an object. It's something. Like a baby, right? Think about it like this. A baby needs, not wants, no. A baby needs a breast, okay, to drink milk from. A baby doesn't want a breast and is like, give me the breast, I need some milk. No, a baby needs the breast, right? So when the baby needs the breast, the baby objectifies the breast and makes it an object. I'm talking about psychoanalytical terms here, but bear with me. So the baby objectifies the breast because that is an object that's going to give him something that he cannot survive without. So therefore, when you need someone and not want someone, and you enter a relationship from that, from lack, okay, from lack instead of abundance, because wanting is abundant when you have things, right? Therefore, you objectify another person. And objectification is, where's love in that? Tell me, where's love in when you objectify another person, where for you that person becomes a means to survival? Where's love in that? There's no love there. So a lot of the times I see relationships where people are in relationships And they think it's love, but it's really not. It's survival. It's not love. They're just trying to survive. They're trying to survive through that relationship. That's not love. That is not love. And so I guess I try to, I did my best to put this point across to you, that it's very important to differentiate between needing and wanting in a relationship. Because when you understand, because now if you have a relationship right now, you can think about it and you will know. From everything that I just said now, you will know whether you need or you want. And most likely, if you were in a happy relationship, you probably wouldn't even be watching it, because you'd be so fulfilled. You'd be so happy and fulfilled that you would not need to probably even watch this, to be honest. And so most likely you're in a state of lack, you're needing. And that relationship, you see it as a means to survival, and that is not how it's supposed to be, and that is not love. So anyway, I hope now you can differentiate between needing and wanting in a relationship, and how it possibly affects your relationship and where it comes from, because I tried to give you an explanation of where, the babies and all that, so where it comes from. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and I will see you guys in another video. And please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and all that. So yeah, thank you and see you soon.